Hello, my name is Peter Parfit. Welcome to the new Brit workshop and this workshop notes video. I've got four things to show you today. One is a ring made out of MDF used to raise a child's toy, one of those Jumperoo things. I want to remind you about the Parf Dogs because a number of people have been asking me questions about them, and I know I made that video quite a while ago. And I thought I'd just show you how I managed to hide a boiler in a utility room. But before all of that, I've been asked a quick question about the Festool CMS unit with the router in it, saying, does it need any routine maintenance? Well, of course it does. Every now and again, it's a good idea to give it a clean off. That's what I'm about to do. When I've done that, I'm going to answer another question about the OF2200 router. And if you look up in here, you can see there's quite a bit of dust and debris. And pay particular attention to any vents that you see. Make sure you get the dust out of there. It's a good idea. And when you finish, just give the bearing surfaces on the plunge mechanism a wipe with a dry cloth. You don't put oil on this. That'll do for another 50,000 miles. Now, good quality routers have two-stage collets, and by that it means that when you're undoing the collet in order to release the cutter, you're up against resistance at the beginning, and that's as it undoes the main tightening force. But then you have a slack bit in the middle, and then you come against resistance again. And it's that second portion that does physically release the clamping of the collet from the tool. And cheaper collets don't have that feature, and you often end up with the bit still trapped in the collet, even though the nut is loose. Anyway, and the question that's been asked is, if you've got a two-stage Festool collet and you're undoing it to release the cutter, when you're in the intermediate stage, are you still able to use the ratchet? Well, the answer is yes. I've gone through both those stages just then, and that cutter is now loose. So that means, certainly for me, that when you're removing a cutter, there's no need to do anything other than use the ratchet and the spanner, and it goes through both stages in one continuous process. So that's all now nice and clean. I can put this back together. That's it, all ready to go again. Now I'm in the process of making a large circular ring of MDF, and in order to do that efficiently, I've cut out some pieces in order to create this hexagon. And the pieces are simply shaped like this, and they come together with domino joints like so to create the hexagon. Now I've actually built two halves already. You can see they're separated like this, and when I bring them up together, the joint between this piece and this piece is not quite perfect. So I'm just going to show you a very simple technique of scribing a line and making these two joints spot on, ready for dominoing. I've clamped this half in place on top of my cutting board, and I'm now going to position the other half so that it is what I consider to be the best fit. Now, my kerf of my saw blade is about 2.5 millimeters, and so I've got a 2.5 millimeter drill bit here, and I'm going to use this to judge how far apart I have these two pieces. And once I'm happy, I'm then going to clamp this in place. And now I can position my guide rail across here so that I can produce a nice clean saw cut, which will clean up the face of both sides. They'll be parallel then. What we must make sure is we take a tiny skim off both sides so we then end up with a perfect fit. And I've got the guide rail supported under here with one of my little offcuts. And you can see now the near perfect fit that we've achieved. Now for the trammel point, I've just taken a little block of MDF. There's a hole in the middle for the trammel point and a couple of fixing holes here so that it can be held in the centre. And just spend a bit of time getting this into the right place on your cutting board. Then it's a simple matter of just using the trammel and going around doing the various cuts. Don't try and take too much off in one go and you'll be fine. Now I've just completed a little bit of work for a friend of mine and he didn't mind me filming, so I thought I'd show you this. This is the end wall of his utility room and behind here is the boiler. And we were trying to work out some way of hiding the boiler so it didn't look too obvious. And so it's in here, there's no handle here. In order to get at this, you remove the drawer and there is a hole here and a hole there where you push out with your fingers, like so, to reveal the boiler. And what I've done is, this piece of wood, at the top here, you may be able to see a pair of brass dowels, which are set in the top of this piece of wood, and there are matching holes in the frame there. And then at the very bottom here is a magnetic catch. And so putting this in and out is very easy. It means the boiler can be accessed. And up above the boiler, I put this wine rack because we had a little bit of pipery up there. That's why this bottle doesn't go all the way back. But it's certainly good enough. And there it is back in place. It means that the boiler can be serviced, and when it doesn't need to be got at, it's then tucked out of the way. I've had several people ask me how I go about cutting my sheet goods, and although it's been shown in videos, those videos were quite a long time ago, so I thought it'd be quite useful just to give you a quick rundown. And the way to go about this, you need three things. You need a track saw with its track or guide rail. I use the Festool ones because I think that's the best, but there are loads of others available. You need a cutting surface which has got a series of 20mm holes in it, and these holes must be laid out such that the rows are absolutely at right angles to the columns. And the other thing you need to guarantee perfectly square cuts time after time are a pair of large and a pair of small Parf Dogs, and they're made by Lee Valley under the Veritas name, and they're available worldwide. And with these you set up your saw station with a large Parf Dog here, and they're screwed in from underneath so they're absolutely firm. And then you have the smaller Parf Dogs here. I've got 3 of them, but you actually only really need 2. And then your guide rail goes against the taller Parf Dogs. Your track saw goes along here. Your piece of wood is pushed against those smaller Parf Dogs there, and that guarantees the square cut time and time again. It's very simple, it's very easy to use, and you don't have to go measuring and checking for square every single time. And here is that cut that I've just done. Absolutely perfect. And of course you can use the Parf Dogs on the Festool MFT3 or on a custom bench that you build for yourself. And you can have as many or as few holes as you like, provided you've got the basic pair of holes for the large Parf Dogs, which that line between those is at right angles to a line of holes which you're going to use for the smaller Parf Dogs. Now, creating an accurate pattern of 20mm holes on your own custom worktop or whatever it might be is not easy, but I will be making a video which shows you an easy way to do it in the not too distant future. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.